Hi guys, Tiffany from Life of Lee's here again, trying to get video number 3 done for you today. I just have so many things on my mind that I want to share with you out there who are thinking about homeschooling or new to homeschooling, because I love homeschooling and I want you to love it too, and I want to help you if I can, and so I'm trying to just get out some quick videos with some advice and tidbits of information that will hopefully help you. Again, I apologize for the terrible lighting, including the light right behind my head that I'll probably move around at times and get weird, but there's just nowhere good to record in my house and I'm just using my phone, so quality's probably not great either. But I just figured, you know, it's a sit down video, I'm blah 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 blahing, so does it really matter? I don't think so. So today we're going to talk about things that homeschoolers like myself want you to know. And of course, I cannot speak for everybody, but as a homeschooler, these are things that I want you to know, you out there who are thinking of homeschooling or who are totally against homeschooling or whatever. And I think the majority, like, of people I know and I've spoke to that homeschool as well, would just want everyone else out there to know and understand. So let's jump right in. And I have lots of notes, so when you see me looking down, it's because I'm a mom and I don't have the best memory, and I'm blaming that on my kids. Okay, so the first thing is that unfortunately, yes, there are homeschoolers whose parents do not teach their children. I think as adults we all know that you can't judge people or a religion or anything based off of other people that seem to be similar or doing the same thing. So yes, there are parents out there that do not teach their children, sadly, that are quote unquote homeschooling. But there are also the majority of us who are teaching our children. But there are also public school kids that are not learning, that are being pushed through the education system. Anyways, so my point is that yes, while sometimes that is true, please don't judge us all, and know that whether a child is homeschooled, public schooled, or private schooled, it does not mean that they are or are not being educated and educated well. Homeschooled kids are not unsocialized. Yes, some of them are, that is true, but there are also public school kids that are also unsocialized. As homeschoolers, we do lots of things. We coordinate proms, classes, art lessons, choirs, clubs, play dates, sports, etc. So our children often do all those things too. And remember that the definition of socialization is the act of mixing socially with others and the process of learning to behave in a way that is acceptable to society. So yeah, definition of socialization can depend on what dictionary you're reading out of or what context you're talking about and that kind of thing, but basically that's what it means. And so plenty of homeschoolers are getting lots of socialization. They're socializing with people much older than them, the same age as them, younger than them. They're socializing in all different sorts of situations, whether in sports or class or at the store or in all different kinds of ways, and they're often being taught ways that are acceptable to society to socialize. And I will remind you that it is not necessary to spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week in a classroom with the same people that are the same age as you day after day in order to be socialized. And I am not saying that to say that kids in public school are unsocialized or that they're less socialized or something. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves, and most homeschoolers' biggest pet peeves is when the socialization question comes up, we're kind of like, huh? Okay. Another thing that homeschoolers want you to know is that we are capable of teaching our own children, just as we have done since the dawn of humankind. And the other thing is that we don't always have to teach our children. That's right, us homeschoolers don't always have to teach our children. There are so many resources out there for homeschoolers nowadays that we don't have to personally teach our kids every single thing. There are online classes, there are tutors, there are co-ops, which are classes, and often those co-ops are taught by teachers or retired teachers, and etc. So yes, we are capable, and if for some reason we really feel we aren't capable or just we don't want to teach them a certain subject, we do have other resources to teach them that information. Something that most homeschoolers like myself want you to know is that just because you might see us out and about in the middle of the day, or you might see like our kids outside playing in the yard in the morning, does not mean that they're not being educated or that they're not being educated well. Why is this? Because when you homeschool, you don't have to have the same schedule as everyone else. So just because, let's say, you see me and my kids out at 1 o'clock buying our groceries on Tuesday, which is a normal school day for everybody else, that doesn't mean that one, that they didn't already have all their education for that day, that we didn't already do math and history and science and they didn't write an essay and whatever, but it also could mean that we're doing school later that day. Or it could mean that that is our scheduled day off because we get to do school on our time frame. And the other thing to take into consideration with that is it takes a lot less time to teach 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, like myself, children, than it does to teach 25 plus children in a classroom. A lot of time spent in public school classrooms is getting everyone settled, waiting for other students to be done so you can move on, waiting for other students to like catch up with the information that's being provided and ask their questions before you can again move on to the next subject, and those kind of things. So 8 hours a day is not necessary at all to educate a child. Oftentimes people will find that all the same education that a public schooler is getting in a day, your homeschooler can complete in like 4 hours. And that has nothing to do with the students or the public education system. It's just reality. You have 25 plus kids in a classroom, and that poor teacher, I mean, that is a lot. They're doing the best they can. Okay. As a homeschooler, something that I and many like me want you to know is that like our children aren't abused. Okay, like my kids love being homeschooled and they don't feel like they're missing out on anything. Oftentimes my kids will bring up in conversation things about public schoolers and how they feel bad because they feel like they're missing out on things. And my older two were in public school for the first few years. Like they were 4th and 5th grade when I started homeschooling them. So they definitely had that public school experience, and it wasn't a bad experience for them or anything like that. But they understand it and know it well enough, at least know something about it, to know that they just really aren't missing out, and they appreciate homeschooling and they really enjoy it. And they also say all the time that homeschooling is harder than public school because I'm a lot tougher on them. And that's because I can be, because I don't have 25 plus students and I know my child well enough to know where their talents lie, and if they're just slacking off, I know. And that was going to be, really jumps into my next thing, which I was going to say, I know my children better. Like I can offer them a better education because I don't have as many students to concern myself with. I have more time to devote to each one of them. I can structure the day and their education to really give them the best and the most, you know, and a public school teacher just can't do that. They can't give all the things to my child that I can give to them, and that has nothing to say negative about public school teachers. It just has to do with the fact that they have so much on their plate, so much, and they do the best that they can, for sure. Other thing that, as a homeschooler, I think a lot of non-homeschoolers don't know is that most colleges and universities are very much homeschool friendly. It's not usually difficult for a homeschooler to get into a college or university, not any more so than, say, a public schooler. Homeschoolers still can also get scholarships, And a lot of times, actually, there's quite a few colleges and universities that like actively recruit homeschoolers. They even, a lot of times there's special days set aside for homeschoolers, like to kind of introduce them to the college and try to bring them in, that kind of thing. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. They think, well, how can you homeschool your child? I mean, what if your child, how are they going to, grow up and get a career and a job and all these things? Well, first of all, you don't have to go to college or university. You don't. And the other thing is that it's not a deterrent, it's not a problem, really at all. So that's good. Another thing that I really want to bring up that I, as a homeschooler, and many other homeschoolers want you to know, especially after what you've just heard, you might not feel this way, but it's very much the truth, is that we do not think that we or our children are better than you or your children because you are or were public schooled or private schooled or whatever. We do not think that way at all. We choose homeschooling because it's right for our family and our children, and we love it, and we hope that a lot of other people can find the love of homeschooling too and experience the wonderfulness of it that we do. But we understand that it is not for everybody for many different reasons, and that we also, on top of that, we don't judge you. Like, if you choose to homeschool if you choose to public school your child, or you choose to put them in private school, or you have to put them in public school or private school or whatever, we do not judge that decision at all. We're not sitting here going, oh, how can they do that? And what about their child being socialized? And what about them getting like the proper education or any of those things? We're not questioning it. We're not worried about it, and we support your decision. Like, we support you doing the best that you can for your family and making the best decision that you can for them. No judgment here at all. And like I said, we really do not think that our children are any better than your children whatsoever. We know that's not true. So I hope that today you learned some things that maybe you didn't know, or maybe even answered some questions like that you had in your mind about homeschoolers, and that you'll feel more at ease with either the idea of homeschooling or your own child, or just feel more at ease with the idea of those around you who homeschool, and maybe you won't feel maybe so like judgmental of them, because we kind of do feel judged sometimes. That's true. Maybe we want you to know that too. We feel judged, and stop asking our children academic questions. Okay. Anyways, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.